Question number 4, Julie Ann Genter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Health. What is the name of the major global study on a sugary drinks tax by the Mexico Autonomous Institute of Technology that he referenced in QWA 13827, and where was it published, if it was?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Mr. Speaker, I saw that this question referred specifically to issues pertaining to Mexico, and so I talked with a newly launched Mexican research and consultancy group known as the Four Amigos, and they advised me that the study referred to is only available online under the title Taxing Calories in Mexico. However, the same group strongly advises that a wall should not be built around the issue of emerging evidence from Mexico.
Wow. Wow. Supplementary question?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Is the Minister aware that this study, one of only 2 that he told me he was keeping a watching brief on for evidence about a sugary drinks tax, has not been published in a peer-reviewed journal and has been described by a reputable science and medical journal as industry-funded?
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Well, look, whatever journal it actually appears in, it's available online. Now, it may have been industry-funded, but I've also sought advice from the Ministry of Health, and they state that it doesn't add any new evidence to the debate about whether to introduce a sugar tax. They also say that it makes a range of assumptions, and they also go on to say that while there was an initial report of up to a 12% decline in sugar-sweetened beverage sales in Mexico following the introduction of a tax, those reports failed to control for other factors likely to have contributed to declining sales, including active public health and education campaigns and improved access to safe drinking water.
Supplementary?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Does he stand by his statement about a sugary drinks tax in the House on 13 October that, quote, "I have talked to the Chief Science Advisor extensively about this, and he admitted that there was no clear evidence on the subject"?
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan Coleman.
Supplementary?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Can he confirm that the advice he received from the PM's Chief Science Advisor on 3 July this year actually said, quote, "There is now a lot more compelling data from Mexico and Europe. From being skeptical of the value of sugar-sweetened beverage taxes and their impact on consumption, recent evidence suggests a surprisingly, to me at least, large and sustained effect, particularly in groups most at risk of obesity"?
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan.
No, I obviously can't confirm that because I haven't got the document, but there's no reason to disbelieve anything that the member says regarding to that quote. So, yeah, she should table it.
Point of order.
Point of order, Julie Ann Genter.
I seek leave to table this letter to the Honourable Jonathan Coleman from the Office of the Prime Minister's Chief Science Advisor, sent on 3 July 2016.
Leave is sought to table that particular letter. Is there any objection to it being tabled? There is not. It can be.
Okay, thank you.
Supplementary question.
Does he accept the findings of the recently released peer-reviewed published study, also from Mexico, showing that the sugary drinks tax has modelled a reduction in nearly 200,000 fewer cases of type 2 diabetes, over 20,000 fewer strokes, and 19,000 fewer deaths, as well as saving its health system nearly $1 billion over the next decade?
The Honourable Dr. Jonathan
No,
Coleman.
I haven't seen that study, and you'd have to look at the methodology and read the study fully. But what I've said to the member many times before is that there's a meta-analysis of all the evidence on a sugary drinks tax, which will be available next year. It's being done actually. There's 2 different centres. One is University of Waikato, one is University of North Carolina, and I'm always open to considering the emerging evidence. But just plucking random quotes out of studies and presenting them in Parliament, frankly, that doesn't tell anyone anything.
Supplementary?
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Does the Minister see that there's a difference between, quote, "no clear evidence" and, quote, "recent evidence suggesting a large and sustained effect, particularly in the groups most at risk of obesity"?
The Honourable Dr.
Well, what I
Jonathan
see
Coleman.
a difference between is a clear analysis of the evidence and just random quotes presented out of context in Parliament by the member.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Julie Ann Genter.
Will he now commit to investigating a sugary drinks tax here in New Zealand, given the overwhelming weight of peer-reviewed, published scientific evidence that a sugary drinks tax will protect the health of our children? Or will he continue to believe the non-published, non-peer-reviewed, industry-funded research, which calls into question the overwhelming weight of evidence?
Look,
I
wouldn't advise anyone to do anything on the advice of a few quotes from Julianne Genter presented in the Parliament, quite frankly.
Point of order.
Order. Order.
Point of order.
Point of order, Julie Ann Genter.
I seek leave to table this peer-reviewed, published journal article called The Projected Impact of Mexico's Sugar-Sweetened Beverage Tax Policy on Diabetes and Cardiovascular Disease, a modeling study, which also states that the evidence that...
And is it easily accessible on the internet?
No, it is not. It's through the Public Library of Science, Medicine, peer-reviewed journal.
On the basis that the members are assuring us it's not easily obtained on the internet, I will put the leave is sought to table that particular study. Is there any objection? Yes. There is objection. Question